Hello and welcome to Quartzlight, your car brochure channel, and in today's episode we're going to be taking a look at Ford Estates. Hello and welcome back to Quartzlight, and if you're new to Quartzlight, we're a car brochure channel here on YouTube looking at car brochures from around the world for the 60s, 70s, 80s and 90s and sometimes beyond that as well. So if you're interested in cars and car brochures, please consider subscribing. It's completely free and really does help the channel. Now, back to today's episode. This episode was first aired on a Friday, and we call them episodes Ford Friday episodes. We look at a Friday. We don't look at a Friday. We look at a Ford every Friday. Today is no exception. We're going to be looking at Ford Estates, or what's more commonly called in anywhere that's not the UK, station wagons, in a brochure for 1976 in the UK. So let's take a look at that brochure now. So today's brochure is the Fordcars all model catalogue for May 1976, proudly showing a rather lovely Mark I Granada estate on the front cover, or station wagon if you prefer. Let's just zoom in on that. It really is rather a lovely car in rather a lovely colour, isn't it? This Mark I Granada 3 litre GL, a real range topper for its time. And this all model catalogue for May 1976. I've got a bit of a tagline: open up your world with Ford Estates. For whatever reason, in May 76, Ford were promoting estates. Come and buy estates. Much more room for your family, of course. So that's kind of like inspired me to do this episode today. So, you know, it's May 1976. You've got a larger family. You've got a bit of money for a new car. What are you going to choose in May 1976? Well, Ford, let's see what you've got to offer. And indeed, when we open the first page, and if we just ignore that rather lovely, very base model Ford Escort Popular, which they're unusually promoting, it does actually say on this side, open up your world with Ford Estates. So let's see what it's got to say for itself. So it starts and introduces by telling us more and more people are turning to Ford Estates as a common sense choice for today's kind of motoring. Estate cars are versatile. They can be used as a roomy family saloon, or your neighbourhood school bus, or the ideal way of bringing home a fortnight's shopping from the supermarket, or ferrying home some bargain antiques, or getting away from it all with your sports gear, camping equipment, or holiday luggage stored comfortably in the back. Ford Estates are the most popular in the country because they are well equipped, they're elegantly styled, they have the majority of the comforts of their saloon car equivalents, they have excellent road holding, and of course, being Fords, they promise you outstanding value for money. Isn't it time you open up your world with a Ford Estate? Well, maybe it is. So Ford, what have you got to offer us first? First up, of course, the ever popular Escort estate cars. And now we've got the Mark II. So seemingly, this is like your newest of the estates that we're looking at. I'm saying seemingly, but we'll come back to that in a moment. So you got this fresh-faced Mark II you could have. First production rolled off the production line in December 74 and kind of like appearing in January 75. So here we are in May 76, so still a relatively new model. We'll look at some of the text and we'll come back to some of these images. So there's 3 different spec levels for your Escort Estates at this time. The most basic one, or the first one on offer, was the car quite simply called the Escort Estate car, coming with quite lowly engine, so you could have it with a very lowly 1100cc, or you could option that to get a bit more suitable 1300cc, because I would imagine 1100cc is quite a small engine anyway, and if you're going to load it up with your family and luggage, I think it would struggle. But you could also have it with the optional 1100cc economy engine if you was being very frugal. So exterior equipment levels, think of it as that very lowly Escort Popular, but it tells you it's got a driver's door mounted rear view mirror and deletion of black paint trim scheme. So essentially you're getting an extra, or I should say, not even an extra, just one single driver's door mounted rear view mirror. Your Escort Popular didn't even come with that, so at least you get that. I was about to say, quite often on estate cars, you ended up with the passenger mirror as well for whatever reason, but not in this case. And then if we go down to the interior, it's telling us similar as with the Escort Popular, but with folding rear seat squab with locking device, additional sound insulation material, full width parcel tray, body colour painted load compartment floor, static or inertia real seat belts to driver and front passenger seats at extra cost. But you could get something a little bit more reasonable, and you could move up to the Escort L, and I'm sure most people did at least move up to an Escort L. It came straight away with that more suitable, well, still quite a small engine, but certainly a more suitable 1300cc engine rather than that very lowly, would really struggle with a full load 1100. Exterior equipment, it's got the same as the base Escort Estate model, but with double coach lines, black painted rocker panels, bright window mouldings, L badge, heated rear window, reversing lights and hazard warning flashes. Yes, it was still a very basic model, but at least you got a heated rear window. But you could move up to the, I'm going to say up market, but I think that's pushing it a little bit, but you could move up to the GL. At this time, again, the only engine available even for the GL was that 1300. And then it tells us for exterior equipment, above that base model, we got double coach lines, bright window mouldings, rubber bumper inserts, GL badging, heated rear window, 2 square halogen headlights, reversing lights, hazard warning flashes, and on the inside, as the base model but with loop pile carpet in the passenger compartment and behind the rear seats, reclining front seats, unique trim style on the seats and added comfort, and quarter panels, grab handles, court hooks, vanity mirror on passenger sun visor, additional sound insulation material, load area light, centre console incorporated clock, chrome gear shift lever, illuminated cigar lighter, dipping rear view mirror, inertia real seat belts to driver and front passenger seats at extra cost. So a few more nicer features on that GL version. Let's move on and have a look at some of the images. Looks like all the images are actually showing that higher spec GL model. Quite like the seat colour actually on this particular example. A couple of unusual little horsey scenes. And then our main image, which is kind of like showing, somebody going diving. Very odd little scenes, but I guess if you're an estate car owner, you're going to be having horses and going diving, I guess that's what it's telling us. So this is going to be your GL model in quite a pleasant look, looks like a gold type colour, 1.3 badge on the front wing there and that coach line. I always think with these Escort estates how unusual that rear window was. Absolutely huge, wasn't it? I think that's probably my favourite feature on these Mark II Escorts. Of course, We've got that Mark II front end, and this is where the problem starts for me with the Mark II Escort, because really it was a Mark 1, wasn't it? I don't know who they was trying to fool. So it had the same doors, roof, rear panel work as the Mark 1, and really all they did was graft that Mark II nose on the front and had a Mark II interior. So this is all you was really getting it to really match the rest of the Mark II range. So that was always my biggest problem with the Mark II estate. And you find with Escorts, or in Fords in general, that they're always a little bit lazy with their estate cars. Even though I do like the design of the Mark 1, you feel like you're getting a far newer car, or a newer car than you actually really are. From the rear, you would think it's a Mark 1, of course. So a little bit of an unusual thing, and that's one thing that puts me off the Mark II Escort. The other thing that puts me off is 3 doors. Now, I've never really understand the idea of having a 3-door estate, because presumably if you want an estate, you've got a family, it's pretty hard trying to bungle some kids in the back and trying to get them, flip your driver's seat back to get your kids in the back. I guess once they're in there, they can't be playing with the doors, safety feature. But overall, I've never really understood the idea of putting 3 doors on an estate car. So I don't know if this is the car you would have chosen if you wanted an estate, but I don't think it's the car for me, even though from the front it probably looked quite fresh in 1976. So let's see what else Ford has to offer to tempt us into an estate. That brings us to the next car up, the Ford Cortina estate cars. And I must admit, the Mark III, or sometimes referred to as the Cortina TC, TC standing for Taunus Cortina, is one of my favourite design Cortinas, and it was a huge change from the Mark IIs, of course. A much more substantial, larger car, and really the fact that it was a much larger, more substantial car really led it to making a really good estate car, I think. Now, the Mark III ran from 1970 to 1976, and like I said at the start, this is May 76. So the downside of getting one of these now is it's going to look pretty old-fashioned by the end of the year. You bought a brand new car, but there's a new Mark IV around the corner. Is that going to be an issue for you? I guess one of the things you could possibly do is wait later on in the year, and maybe you can get a few bargains before the Mark IV, or do you wait for that Mark IV to come around? Anyway, let's have a look at some of the text and see what different spec levels. There's a bit more choice, I think, with the Cortina. So the range starts again with a very base model that doesn't even have a trim name, quite simply called the Cortina estate car, with one engine choice, a 1.6 or 1600 cc OHC engine. Same equipment levels as your very basic Cortina saloon car, and they've added a driver's door mounted rear view mirror, and that's it. Interior equipment again as that very basic Cortina saloon, but with a folding rear seat squab with automatic locking device, and again seat belts at extra cost. So that's a real stripped down version. Let's have a look at what most people would have gone up to, the L. Again, sadly only one engine choice, and for a big estate car like this, I think a 1600 is really a very small engine if you're going to load this big. And remember, it was much heavier than the Mark II Cortina. This quite big, heavy car. Load it up with your family and all the equipment for your holidays. I think you're going to be struggling a little bit with a 1.6, I'm going to say. However, It does add a bit more equipment over that Cortina saloon, bright window mouldings, rubber bumper inserts, bodyside coach lines, the L badge, electrically operated tailgate washer wiper, driver's door mounted rear view mirror and rectangular halogen headlamps. I think that picture at the side says it all. I think I'd move up to the L just to get a wiper on the back, and that would be enough. Now moving down to the interior equipment, it's got the same equipment as that basic Cortina, but with a folding rear seat squab, automatic locking device, colour keyed loop pile carpets, black load space carpets, reclining front seats, passenger grab handles, additional sound insulation, vanity mirror, locking glove box with light, trinket tray, and seat belts at extra cost. But we could move still further. And particularly if you wanted a more reasonable engine, we're now up to a 2 litre, which makes a bit more sense for an estate, I think. You had to move up to the XL. You could still get the 1.6 or option it to a 2 litre. And that added over that base Cortina with bright mouldings on wheel arches and windows, rubber bumper inserts, bodyside coach lines, that all important XL badge, electrically operated tailgate washer wiper, driver's door mounted rear view mirror, rectangular semi-sealed halogen headlamps incorporating side lights. And then on the inside, it actually added quite a bit. So we've got a trip recorder, tachometer, automatic choke for the 2 litre, folding rear seat squabs, automatic locking device, soft feel matte vinyl trim on fascia and wood veneer instrument surround, soft feel steering wheel, reclining seats, unique style and added comfort, seat valances, anti-tip device and adjustment for forward and backward movement, loop pile carpets, colour keyed in passenger area, black in loading area, passenger grab handles, coat hooks, additional sound insulation, vanity mirror, locking glove box with light load area, light console with clock and seat belts at extra cost. Real seat belts to drive and front passenger seats at no extra cost. So finally, Ford have decided, now you're spending a bit more money, you've gone up to our XL estate car. Finally, they're going to give us some seat belts, so our safety finally has some importance. So there's quite a bit more on top, but you could move up to quite a fancy Cortina estate actually. Yes, at this time you could have the very rare car now, the 2000E, with a nice 2 litre engine, your styled sports road wheels, etc., and equipment, bright mouldings on drip rails, wheel arches and windows, rubber bumper inserts, overriders, vinyl roof. Unusual to get a vinyl roof on an estate car, because it's a huge roof, isn't it? The 2000E badging, of course, which you wanted to point out to your neighbour every day, all round tinted glass, electrically operated tailgate, washer wiper, driver's door mounted rear view mirror, rectangular semi-sealed halogen headlamps, incorporated side lights. And considering this is 76, quite the long list of interior added equipment on this rather special model really. So trip recorder, tachometer, automatic choke, dual tone horn, folding rear seat squabs with automatic locking device, real wood finish to door quarter cappings and fascia, dished oval leather covered steering wheel, fully colour keyed interior including carpets, steering wheel, fascia and fabric, or fabric with vinyl black interior trim, passenger grab handles, coat hooks, reclining slide mounted front bucket seats with seat valances, anti-tip device, adjustable head restraints and adjustment for forward and backward movement, fabric trim door panels, not with black trim, deep cut pile carpeting extending to foot of doors and the full load area floor, rubber floor mats beneath easily removable load compartment carpet, Mat pockets on backs of front seats, extensive sound insulation, 2 padded sun visors with vanity mirror on passenger side, locking glove box with lights, load area lights, door operated courtesy light on all 4 doors, console unit incorporating clock, push button radio and those seat belts. So it doesn't sound much today, but certainly in 76 that would have been quite the long list of extras for that rather special 2000E. And then we've got the images that correspond to the model. So first up is that super basic one that's just quite simply called the Cortina estate car, and it certainly looks very basic. We've got these little centre chrome caps on there, no wiper on the back of course. Moving down to what I think was actually my favourite colour actually for the Mark III, this yellow, Ford yellow. I always used to quite like that. Wiper on the back is the biggest improvement that I see on the L model. The rather nice XL estate, biggest improvement there was the option to go for a 2 litre I think on that model. And then of course the kind of the model you certainly aspire to have, the 2000E, certainly a rare car today, and I don't know back then how available it was on the dealer forecourts. Was it as easy to get as say the XL? I don't know, but that's certainly the car you really aspired to have. Little overriders on the front bumpers there, and I think the main thing that really shows it off is that vinyl roof. A big vinyl roof for an estate car is most unusual, and of course standard it comes with that 2 litre. And then we've got these more little drawings or photos of these estate cars in no particular order, starting with the XL from the side there. This looks like it is the 2 litre which someone has chosen, right next to that base model, and it does look base with those round lights. They really went out the way forward to make your base car look like a base car in those times. Usually meant removing any sort of chrome trim with black, making it look as cheap as they possibly could. Almost ashamed to pick it, aren't you, that one, but I'm sure it was a good price. The nicest of these, the 2000E, and like I say, the Mark III really suited being an estate because it really made quite a nice big estate for UK roads anyway. We're not talking about outside of Europe when this would have still been seen as quite a small car, but for UK roads these were quite big cars at the time. And possibly my favourite colour, but just the lowly L model. I guess if money was a bit tight, maybe this L model is what I would go for. At least I've got a rear view, a rear wiper on there at the very least. I would like the 2 litre, so I would try and get the XL if I could, I think, depending on money. But hold on, we don't have to make our choice yet. We've got another estate. Yeah, we're talking a big car now, the Granada estate. Same image actually as on the front cover. Available in 2 models only, the L or the GL at this time. So let's just have a look at the specifications. So the most basic Granada, the Granada L at this time, you can have it as a 2 litre or a 2.5 V6. Or go for the GL, and that comes with a 3 litre V6. How lovely. Stereo equipment is just quite simple. In the L is the same as the Granada L saloon, plus rear windscreen wash wipe and less black back panel. So I quite like that black panel, but it doesn't have it. The GL estates, same as the GL saloon, plus a rear wash wipe and less the black back panel. And the interior equipment, it's quite simply saying the L estate is the same as the Granada L saloon, plus a folding rear seat with locking device. No folding centre armrest, sadly. The GL as the GL saloon, plus folding rear seat with locking device. No folding centre armrest with twin speakers. Inertia reel seat belts at no extra cost. Inertia reel seat belts to driver and front passenger seats, no extra cost. Oh, that's quite generous of Ford. So yes, certainly big on comfort, big on capacity, as it says. It got a little bit of the sizes there, 4 doors with childproof locks, top hinge tailgate with pneumatic struts, big loads floor and a rear screen wash wipe. It certainly looks very nice in this top trim level for the time. Nothing fancy about the wheels, but quite nice sort of chrome type wheel trim. Big 3 litre GL this one, and again it looks like it's got quite a nice, is that a vinyl roof as well? Certainly looks that way. Lots of chrome, and well, it's just an absolutely huge car, this, isn't it? So the Mark 1 Granada ran from 72 to 77, so again it's kind of like in this 76 brochure, it's kind of like getting to the end of its life for sure. So, you know, do you wait for that new model in 77 to get the Mark 2? Well, if you're going for the Mark 2 estate, I'm not sure it's really worth it, because it's a similar story really, to be honest with you. Ford grafting the Mark 2 nose on the Mark 1 essentially. But, you know, maybe you could get some good deals if you waited till 77 and get some good deals on the Granada. I really like the look of this Granada, I must admit, but I still think I'd go back to the Cortina. Yes, the Cortina is my favourite Cortinas, these Mark IIIs. I just love the styling of them. Quite a bold move, moving away from the Mark II Cortina for this big new design, and it certainly was a slow seller when it first came out, but certainly sales did pick up, and like I say, rust was a huge issue. You know, let's ignore that for a moment, but yeah, I do like these Mark IIIs. Which model would I have gone for? If money was no object, the 2000E for sure. I think it does something special, and even today it's a little bit special, isn't it, the 2000E? Yes, I know the new Mark IV is just round the corner, but can we be clever? Can we wait a couple of months and get a good bargain on the old shape 2000E? That would be my pick anyway. Let me know what you would choose. So there we go, the Ford estates or station wagons for May 1976. Like I say, let me know what you would choose out of the 3. I'd be happy with any of them, to be perfectly honest, today, but certainly back then, because I haven't got enough pennies together to get that 2000E. No chance, personally. I wouldn't at all. I would have been going for that base model Cortina, or maybe I could have scraped enough for the L, but nevertheless, ideal world, scrape enough money to get the 2000E, buy it late on, get a good price for it. Who knows? I'd have to keep it in a nice heated garage though, because wow, then things did rust a lot. Thank you so much for watching Ford Friday again today. Many more episodes coming up, so please do like and subscribe. Indeed, subscribing is completely free and does help the channel. That circle there with our logo on, click on that, you can subscribe for free. I've also added a couple more boxes there for other videos you may have missed. In fact, we've got hundreds of back catalogue episodes to look at if you're interested and if you've got time. But I'd like to thank you all for watching today. Thank you for all those who have subscribed, and have a great weekend. See you soon, take care, and goodbye.